Hello, and welcome to the 2021 Producer Advisory Council's Horticulture section video. Within this video, we will talk about fruit and vegetable, horticultural economics, floriculture, and ornamental and home horticultural project updates being conducted within the Mississippi State University's Coastal Research and Extension Center group. If there are any parts of this video that you would rather see than others, you will notice out beside each topic is the time in which it starts. So feel free to fast forward to that part of the video, rewind, skip around however you would like to. Thank you for joining us today, and we hope you find our video very informative.
Hi, my name is Eric Staffney. I'm the leader of the Small Fruits program at Mississippi State University. I'm an extension and research professor. This past year we've worked with a lot of crops, and I'm going to go through them here, especially each individually, and talk about some of the research and extension type projects we did. I'm going to start off with blackberries, and blackberries grow pretty well here in South Mississippi, but they do have a symptom of a white druplet disorder, which has no specific effect on the flavor of the berry, but it just looks kind of bad. So we're trying to figure out ways to reduce that. One variety in particular, Sweetie Pie, has more of a severe problem with it, so we've been doing some experimentation on that. We tried adding additional nitrogen to it, and what we found out was that did reduce white druplet disorder in the berries by about 25 to 33%. Whether that's enough to make it worthwhile to add all the extra nitrogen is another thing that we're still trying to work out. But we did find that interesting result. Now for blueberries, we looked at renovation pruning. So we had some old vines and we wanted to prune those back. And we did a couple of different things. We pruned them all the way to the ground, and we pruned them at 50 centimeters high off the ground. And what we found was that by pruning them at 50 centimeters, that really encouraged quicker harvestable yield. So even in the next year, we were able to harvest berries, and by the second year, we got a lot of berries, and a lot more than cutting them back to the ground. Now, I think eventually those at the ground will catch up to the others, but if you're looking to get back into production quicker, that 50 centimeter cut does the job. Also work with grapes and muscadines, and we just finished up a study on crop load and looking at how that interacts with Pierce's disease, which is a bacterial disease. Grapevines with heavier crops did not appear to be more susceptible to Pierce's disease. And so we usually associate Pierce's disease with stress response, and we didn't find that here. It was more due to just the susceptibility of the cultivar itself, and so that is the finding there. So there are some susceptible varieties that don't do well here, and the crop load didn't really affect that much in terms of those. For passion fruit, I'm doing some breeding here, interspecific hybrids. So Passiflora edulis is the commercial edible type of passion fruit, and then Passiflora incarnata is the native maypop. So I've done some crosses with those, got some new hybrids that I've been working out. We did some selections on those last year, picking out some fruit that were large and tasted good, and those sort of things. And there's still a long way to go, but I think there's some promising results there, potentially down the road for maybe releasing a variety or something like that out of there. But as of right now, we've got some more crosses in the greenhouse that'll be going out to be looked at this year, and then we'll make some crosses this year between some different, possibly some of these hybrids that I have, and back cross it to something more commercial. And finally, strawberries. I've been working with Dr. Barbara Smith on this, and we're looking at LED light effects on disease development, especially botrytis. And so far it looks like the different light spectra, so we're looking at red light, blue light, a combination of these different lights, and finding that it does affect the plant growth quite a bit. And you can see in certain of these spectra some damage that occurs, but not as much on disease so far. So we only run this for 1 year, and we're going to do it again. So at this point, we don't see as much effect on disease, but that's what we're shooting at, to maybe try and control without any pesticides, but with different light treatments. So that kind of runs over a lot of the research that I've done. I've got a graduate student, Haley Williams, who's also working in grapes. As you know, 2020 was a difficult year. We had to cancel a lot of programs and change the way we do things, hence this talk right here. But hopefully in 2021 we'll get back to where we can actually do these things again in person and have field days and those sort of things that we couldn't have in 2020. So that's my update for the Small Fruits program. Thanks for listening.
Hello, I'm Haley Williams, a master's student at Mississippi State, working with Dr. Eric Staffney with small fruit crops. I mainly work with bunch grapes though, so that's what I'm going to discuss here. And something I did this past year, and will do again this year, is canopy management of grapevines. This specifically was done with the Mid-South cultivar, which I have shown here, and it is a red hybrid bunch grape that's being grown in McNeil, Mississippi. The canopy management that I did involved removing leaves from the cluster zone of some vines and removing vegetative shoots from other vines. These practices have been done in many other states and with other cultivars, both by other universities for research purposes and by the wine industry. We're curious to see the effect that it's going to have here in the climate of southern Mississippi though. It's typically done to improve the quality of the resulting grapes, so this would include reducing the level of disease among the grapes, as well as improving the chemical composition of the grapes. So the chemical composition is going to include the sugar and acid content, the pH, and the phenolic content. So that phenolic content would be the anthocyanins, which affect the color of the juice, and antioxidants. So then the idea is that by improving the quality of the fruit, you'll then improve the quality of the wine that you make from it. And so far, based on the results I've gotten and some statistical analysis of these results, it seems that the shoot removal is what has the greatest effect. But again, I will be repeating the study this year to see if that can actually be concluded. For now though, that's it. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them through my email that I have here. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Dr. Christine Coker. Mike Ely and I work at the Beaumont Horticultural Unit. At our station, we specialize in vegetable production, high tunnels, plasticulture, irrigation, cut flowers, and small fruit production. Today, I'd like to share with you a few of our recent projects. We've just finished up a project with alternative mulches in cooperation with colleagues from the LSU Ag Center. Not only did we look at traditional black poly mulch, we also looked at non-mulch beds as well as row covers made of maize, bioplastic, and paper, as well as paper impregnated with 3,3,3 NPK. We're in the process of publishing these data in Hort Technology. Over the past 2 years, we've worked with Syngenta to provide evaluation on the use of dual magnum, We've looked at bare ground as well as plastic mulch grown watermelons, and also seeded and transplanted leafy greens. This information is being put into place to attain an IR4 or special use label for growers in Mississippi. We are just wrapping up a crop on intercropping for insect diversity as well as vegetable yield. This project includes using flower cultivars as well as vegetables to promote beneficial insects, also to evaluate overall insect diversity, and to evaluate the effect of intercropping on vegetable production, flowers, and marketable yield. We always welcome visitors at our unit. We're located at 478 Highway 15 North in Beaumont, Mississippi. If you would like to reach Mike or I at the station, the number is 601-788-6616. The best way to get in touch with me is through email at christine.coker@msstate.edu. You can also follow me on WordPress through my blog at veggiedoctor.wordpress.com. Please reach out if you have any questions or if you'd like to schedule a group visit to the farm or would like to stop by and chat.
Hi, my name is Jonathan Smith, and for this slide, I'm going to discuss optimization using linear programming. So what is linear programming? It is a mathematical method that is used to determine the best possible outcome or solution from a given set of parameters that are represented in linear relationships. The two most common uses with linear programming have objectives of either profit maximization or cost minimization. Let's take a farm supply company, for example, or any supply company for that matter, and look at ways linear programming is used for optimization. They can use linear programming for optimizing distribution of products sold, optimizing inventory levels and replenishment intervals, all with the objective of minimizing costs. Another good example is of a crop farmer using linear programming to optimize crop structuring with the objective to maximize profits. Here at the South Mississippi Branch Experiment Station for 2021, we will be conducting a floral study where we'll be looking at the economic viability of producing both fresh and dried flowers in Mississippi for commercial sales. We're going to be looking at the costs associated, such as sowing, transplanting, growing, harvesting, drying of the cutting material. Then towards the end, we'll be looking at the projected market prices along with the yield data coupled with the cost data, and all this will be inputs that go into a profit maximization model. When it comes to creating an LP model, the most commonly used software is Microsoft Excel with the solver add-in. And just FYI, there are many resources online that will give you a better understanding of the multitude of uses for linear programming, along with step-by-step directions on how to create and solve these models using Microsoft Excel. A good example of what to expect an LP model to look like can be seen at the bottom of this slide. This model was set up in Microsoft Excel and solved using the solver add-in. For now, I plugged in presumptive numbers just to test the model for errors. As you can see, the objective function is gross profit maximization in the green cell by solving for the decision variables highlighted in yellow while satisfying the constraints in the lower portion of the model highlighted in red. This concludes my presentation. I hope you found this information beneficial. If you have any questions you would like to ask me, feel free to shoot me an email to the address provided on the slide. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Caitlin McLeod. I'm a graduate student with the Mississippi State University, and this poster presents a study on consumer preference and willingness to pay for poinsettia varieties. The well-known holiday flower is traditionally offered in retail stores in red, pink, and white varieties, sold in container sizes ranging from 4 to 12-inch containers. Periodic pricing updates aid local poinsettia growers to plant and market plants each season but consumer marketing and willingness to pay research is scarce. The objectives of the study is to determine preferred poinsettia container size and calculate the average willingness to pay of the 4 container sizes of the 3 poinsettia varieties. The 3 varieties used in the study were Jubilee White, Majestic Pink, and Jubilee Red. Each variety was planted in 4, 6, 8, and 10-inch containers, with 1 rooted cutting in 4 and 6-inch containers, and 2 rooted cuttings in 8-inch containers, and 3 rooted cuttings in 10-inch containers. Poinsettias were staged at 4 locations, and 144 participants completed the consumer survey. Respondents were asked to measure their level of liking by circling 4, 6, 8, or 10-inch for each variety, and then asked to fill in a dollar amount of how much they are willing to pay for each variety and pot size combination. Figure 1 gives a graph of the average percentage of consumer preferences for each container size of each variety. As you can see, 8-inch containers were preferred for Jubilee White and Majestic Pink, while 10-inch was most preferred for Jubilee Red. 4-inch containers were least preferred of all varieties. Table 1 gives a table of consumers' willingness to pay average price for container size and variety. This table reveals red is valued most, no matter its container size, except for 6-inch, where all the varieties were valued the same. Jubilee White was valued the least in 8 and 10-inch containers. The results from these data are consumers value red even if they prefer another variety in that container size. Consumers also are willing to pay more for larger containers. Such consumer marketing data can provide an upper hand to poinsettia growers and retailers in reference to pricing and strategy. As you can see at the bottom of the poster, I have an example of how we staged the poinsettias. They were each coded with a letter and their size of container instead of their actual variety name. And the picture on the very right is where we did the research at the Forest County Extension office. Thank you for listening.
And if you're interested in what's going on in the world of floriculture, Dr. Jim Del Prance has a separate video posted within our Producer Advisory Council playlist. So feel free to check that video out for more information.
Hi, I'm Gary Bachman, Extension Research Professor of Horticulture here at Coastal R&E, and I'm the host of Southern Gardening. COVID-19 and the pandemic and the stay-at-home orders threw all of our plans, up into the air last year. But one of the things that we did see was a huge increase in home and consumer horticulture with more people staying at home. They had more time to garden and discover the joy of the garden. During the pandemic, in order to address this increase in consumer horticulture, we maintained the Southern Gardening franchise of branded material. From the TV standpoint, we maintained our over 400,000 indirect viewers a week. And for our newspaper column, we, believe it or not, have over 2 million indirect contacts a week from newsprint and magazine subscriptions. I had been doing, up until 2020, a Facebook Live weekly where I just gave 5 or 10 minutes of tips, things to do in the garden. But with the pandemic and the more people at home gardening, I decided to do a new product, and it was called the Daily Dose of Hort. And these were daily tips and tricks to help people be successful in the garden. We ran these videos over social media networks from March 1st until December 31st, and we generated more than 250,000 views of these videos. So I think that we were having an impact there by just the viewership that we were getting. We're going to continue the daily dose into 2021 and beyond. Hey, and hopefully next year we'll be able to meet in person and we can discuss everything that's going on and needs and things that need to be addressed. So let's hope, keep our fingers crossed, we'll see you in 2022.
I'm Patricia Knight. I'm the Director for Coastal Horticulture Research for Mississippi State University's Coastal Research and Extension Center. We're very proud of our comprehensive horticulture program here that covers fruits, vegetables, ornamentals, and also floral design. My personal focus area is ornamental horticulture. My current program focuses on crepe myrtle breeding, plant evaluations, and this also includes annuals, perennials, and woody ornamentals, new approaches to plant health management, plant propagation, and on the basic science side, examining how crepe myrtle flower color develops. With crepe myrtle breeding and plant selection, we have both in-ground field plantings and container plants. We make controlled crosses each year, plant the resulting seeds each winter, transplant into containers where we evaluate for desirable characteristics, and then we transfer promising selections to the field to evaluate them further. You can see the new crepe myrtle just emerging from the seed on the left and trays with the new seedling crop on the right. Each tray contains the seeds from an individual cross. These are the crepe myrtles that have been released from our program. Delta Jazz was the first dark-leaf crepe myrtle that started the trend, and it has been featured as part of the Southern Living plant collection. We have also released the green-leafed cultivars, Pascagoula, Tishomingo, and Neshoba, their 3 purple-flowered selections, Shumaka, which is a light pink selection, and Sequoia, which is a clear true red. This is a photo of our multi-location Rudbeckia and Echinacea trial. We just completed our first year of data with these plants, and it will continue for another 2 years. We also had a multi-location Penta trial. Because there are so many selections, we opted to look at red and pink shades. Because COVID really interfered with our plant distribution to our other locations, we're going to repeat this trial this year. It also has a consumer component we really couldn't complete because of limited visitation. Another trial from this past year that we will be repeating is Calibrachoas. We did multicolored or flecked blooms because there are also so many possibilities with this plant. It was also a multi-location trial that was impacted by our ability to distribute plants to our cooperating partners. We are also looking at unconventional methods to clean up nursery stock infected with Loropetalum gall. We're just getting started with this project, and we really can't go into a lot of details right now until we have more data. We are also involved with a multi-state plant evaluation group. These are hydrangea selections that were distributed several years ago. The goal is to show how the plants perform over the entire Southeast so that we can make valid recommendations to consumers.
Hi, my name is Jenny Riles. I am a PhD student and research associate for Dr. Patricia Knight at the South Mississippi Branch Experiment Station. And one of my roles as a research associate is to do different propagation projects, this one being our native azalea project. We're looking at 3 native azalea or deciduous azalea species, Canescens, Austrinum, and Viscosum, and we're trying to find ways to optimize rooting of these difficult to root species from stem cuttings. We are also looking at a Mississippi native sweet bay magnolia in terms of which type of auxin and at what concentration the auxin optimizes rooting performance for semi-hardwood cutting types. And as for my graduate research, we are looking at the anthocyanins that are responsible for the different color flowers found in crepe myrtles. And hopefully we will be able to RNA sequence this to figure out which anthocyanin is directly responsible for which color, and if we can find this out early on in the plant stage to help streamline the whole plant breeding process for breeders and growers everywhere.
Welcome everyone, my name is Anthony Bound. I'm a PhD student in Dr. Knight's research program here at the South Mississippi Branch Experiment Station in Poplarville, Mississippi. And the focus of my dissertation research is the evaluation of 2 non-traditional adjuvants for their use in the commercial plant propagation industry. One of those adjuvants that we're looking at are surfactants, and more specifically, and when surfactants are co-applied with foliar applications of rooting hormone. Now, foliar applications of rooting hormone are increasing with popularity in the nursery industry for several reasons. The principal reason being that many nursery owners and operators are seeing a decrease in their labor costs when switching to foliar applications of auxin. However, the industry standard, it seems to be, are that multiple applications of that same foliar applied rooting hormone are required to get a sufficient amount of auxin to the base of that cutting to promote adventitious root formation. However, little research has been done to see whether surfactants, the interaction between surfactants and foliar sprays, and whether you can go from multiple sprays without surfactant to a single one-time spray with a surfactant and get the same quantity or quality of rooting compared to the more traditional basal quick dip method or multiple applications of rooting of foliar auxin applications. Now, the other adjuvant that we're looking at is really showing great promise is the use of honey, or the addition of honey rather, to water-soluble auxin solutions. This idea for honey as an adjuvant came to us from New Zealand, and there is a grower there that when their commercial rooting hormone went off market, they switched to they looked at 3 different honeys, or rather, excuse me, 2 different honeys. The Manuka honey, which has been renowned the world over as a for its superior wound healing properties. And they looked at just a general multiflora clover honey that you could buy at any big box store. And so our results are showing, and we're still waiting on just a little bit of data, but it's really promising that when honey is applied specifically to camellias, we're waiting on magnolia data, but for camellias, that shoot height and root number are greatly increased compared to just applying standard just auxin solutions by themselves. So hopefully that stays true, and then we'll have some very interesting data to publish and present at our next field day here in Poplarville. Thanks, everyone.
Hello, my name is Scott Langlois, and I'm the Facility Coordinator and a Research Associate with Mississippi State University at the South Mississippi Branch Experiment Station in Poplarville. At Poplarville, we conduct a number of commercial variety trials each year, as well as some competitive trials. Let's take a quick look at some of the top performers from our gardens in 2020. In the All-America Selection Trials, one of my favorites and a 2021 AAS winner was a red and yellow zinnia. Profusion red-yellow bicolor, as it has been named, showed excellent disease resistance with a flower color ranging from bright yellow to a rosy red, which started in May and carried into September. The nice compact growth habit would make this a good container choice as well. A 2017 AAS winner, Verbena and Durascape Pink Bicolor, handles summer heat as well as moderate freezing temperatures. They're vigorous spreading plants that would do well in the landscape as a ground cover or in large containers as we have here. A 2020 AAS winner, Rebecchia American Gold Rush, is a great plant that resists problems other Rudbeckias seem to have with midsummer heat and humidity. Suncredible Yellow is an ever-blooming sunflower. This plant was loaded with pollinators all season. Full of 4-inch flowers, our plants reached a height of about 36 inches. A great choice for either an annual ground cover or mixed container is this ornamental sweet potato, Proven Accents Sweet Caroline Kiwi. These were grown in full sun, but this plant will do fine in part shade. It has light green foliage in full sun, and you can expect more of a chartreuse foliage when grown in part shade. A favorite among the bees and butterflies this year from Benari was the Cheyenne Gold Rebecchia. This plant is an excellent choice for cut flowers as the flowers have a very long vase life.
The Proven Winners Color Blaze series of Coleus is just fantastic. Royal Cherry Brandy has deep dark red foliage and will reach a height of about 30 inches. Color Blaze Royal Pineapple Brandy has yellow chartreuse foliage and seems to almost glow in full sun with leaf borders of bronze. This is my favorite Coleus in our gardens this year. Blew My Mind Evolvulus or Dwarf Morning Glory may be the most heat-tolerant blue flowering plant that I know of. Grown in full sun, this is a heat-loving, drought-tolerant plant that would do good in containers as well, growing at only 8 inches tall and spreading about 14 inches. This plant has been in flower from May until December. My all-time favorite celosia in our gardens has to be Dragon's Breath. This plant's about 24 inches tall in the landscape or containers, likes full sun, and blooms late with bright red plumes, but it's the foliage that really catches your eye all summer in a fantastic display of bronze and maroon. For a total blanket of bright yellow flowers all summer, it's hard to beat this Melampodium Derby.
And for a few non-ornamental varieties, I really like Deliz, a 2016 AAS winner. This strawberry can be grown from transplants or seed and is day neutral, meaning it can fruit from early summer through the fall.
Another strawberry that performed well in containers for us was Buried Treasure. A Proven Winners offering shown here is Buried Treasure Pink, an ever-bearing strawberry with semi-double pink flowers and an abundance of small sweet fruit.
This potato was a great container performer. Grown from seed, Clancy is a 2019 AAS winner and produces an abundance of small 3 to 4 inch tubers ranging in color from rosy red to creamy yellow. That's a short update on the 2020 commercial variety trials from All-America Selections, Benari, and Proven Winners. We hope to have another successful upcoming trial year and look forward to being able to have more visitors to our gardens in 2021. Thanks for watching and happy gardening.